All right, guys. It is mid-November right now. I'm in Southern California, and this is actually my third attempt on trying a Super Julie. You know, the first two attempts, and then I probably involved about 3 fruits or more. And they tended to have been overripe on the tree, just like this little blush on the tree, and then I still ate it. It was still good, but it was at that stage where it was either overripe or some kind of internal breakdown. I think it's overripeness, but I'm not too sure because this is the first year I am. Excuse me. I do have fruits for this first year, so it's the first year I'm having fruits. So I don't really know. I'm still kind of testing out when's the peak time to pick it and everything. So, I have been picking the last few ones solid green like this, not waiting for a color break on it because I think at that stage it might be overripe like the first ones I tried. So let me tell you a little bit about Super Julie. Very, very vigorous grower, excellent grower. The blooms and everything looks very disease resistant, right? But every time it sets fruits from it, it's like a bunch of little fruitlets and then they all drop. And the only thing I could tell is that all those fruits that dropped had no embryo. So I'm still working out how to correct that, trying to figure out the spring schedule or the rebloom cycle on that to make that work. But I did end up with like about 6 fruits this year, and unfortunately the ones that color break on the tree had a bit of, I would say, a bit of either overripeness or some sort of internal breakdown in the flesh. It was getting to that point where I left it long, it could really go bad. Had begun to get a hint of that, sewer gas smell, that off-putting nose, right? So hoping this doesn't have that. Smells a bit better. We'll see. This one was in full sun, so it had a bit of a more reddish blush to it when it was full sun, and then right now it's like this color break right here. It's a beautiful looking mango, Even the orange on here is like this sunset kind of orange on it, I'm not even talking about the red, I'm talking about the orange color. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one up open. I would tack the other 2 reviews on the back end of this video. So it might be a pretty long video. You guys could stop watching it after the first section of review, but I tried reviewing this like 3 times because I was cutting into the mango, trying to get a good peak sample of the mango, right? So I'm going to put those other 2 videos on here just to make one long video, and you guys could watch as much as you want or not when you want to, right? So I am cutting into this. Let's see how this looks like. Yes, this looks beautiful, right? This looks beautiful right here. None of the internal breakdown issues that I had with the other mangoes, right? Look at this. Sorry about that little interruption, guys. Some of those amber alerts, they go off, kind of mess up my phone a bit. So we'll kind of continue. It's a beautiful fruit, beautiful looking fruit. Check this out. Check out the color on this. It's just amazing looking fruit. All right. And fortunately, this one is looking pretty perfect. No issues with any kind of internal breakdown, right? I'm gonna go ahead and eat this. That's good. This is really good. Wow, guys. Strong sweetness, strong sub-acid tartness to it, especially near the skin. Smells, oh man, it's like it's that Alfonso note to it, that Alfonso spice, but slightly different. I mean, a little bit different than what I've tasted in the past with some of the Alfonso derivatives, like or the stuff that has that lineage. This one's a bit more, I would say, in a good way, like a bit more muskier. Man, this is good. I love that strong sweetness on it. and near the skin is like this strong tightness, maybe like a thin layer of strong tightness near the skin. Trying with the skin. Good. Man, this is good, guys. Reminds me of, like, in terms of that balance between sweetness, sub-acidity, in the range of like an Indian mango. It's like a Alfonso, but a bit more intense, if that makes any sense. Very sweet, has a strong sub-acid note to it, especially near the skin. Amazing terpenes. Amazing terpenes. Okay, especially near the stem tip. Oh, that's amazing. The terpenes on there, it's like much more stronger. Whew. I am so glad this is turning out to be this good. I was worried about this for a bit, and you guys could see the other videos I'll tack onto this, because it kept on having that kind of like overripeness or internal breakdown on it, which scared the heck out of me, because if it keep on producing something like that, that's just like a, you know, it was good, but it was just like, I could tell it had potential, but couldn't really tell that much with it, because it lost a bit of the complexity and the sub-acid note to it. This is great. The skin has a nice tightness to it. It's almost like eating like the skin of like a tart apple or something like that. Amazing terpenes, you know, kind of like in that Alfonso group. And lots of times with the Alfonso group, I always kind of get melons from them. I do get strong melon from them. On this, I get like also an additional sub-acid note to it. Much more reminiscent of like an Alfonso versus like the Quezon, which Quezon tends to be much more sweeter and kind of lack a bit of the sub-acid notes. Okay, guys. Very, very happy with this fruit. I was beginning to be worried if I, you know, with my huge graft, if it was worth having it and all that stuff. This has completely more than satisfied me that I definitely have to keep that huge graft, and also kind of make sure that you know, I picked this at the right stage, right? From my understanding, I thought that it was able to hang on a tree longer. I don't think it is. I don't think it's a variety that should kind of show. Well, this one was red on the tree, but that's like a more like a sun exposure redness, not like a color break. So when it does color break, I think it's overripe. That's my opinion, that the color break on it on the tree is an overripe fruit. So at least this year that seems to be the case. I mean, who knows what's going to happen next year. But yes, excellent mangoes, guys. Excellent mango. This is a smaller one. Look, I got a huge fruit one here to go. and we'll see how it goes. I gave a few of these away to friends, and the ones that's reporting back so far said that solid green like this, it has an intense color break once it ripens, and once it starts to ripening. So we'll see guys. I mean, I might add this review, I might not, but at least for this review there's gonna be like 3 different videos on here. Feel free to watch it, feel free to end it wherever you want, but excellent. I'm so happy about this because I've been growing this variety for a while. I got a huge graft, and I'm extremely happy about this flavor. This is right up my alley in terms of flavor. This is amazing flavored mango. All right guys, thanks. Hey everyone, this is a review of the variety Super Julie. So I had a couple of Super Julie fruits. These I actually picked, but they were really kind of getting a little bit soft on the tree. I had one that dropped off the tree. I still ate it. That one was still pretty good, but there was some internal kind of breakdown or over ripeness in certain parts of the fruit. I did record a video of that one. I might tack it onto this, I might not, just kind of depending how this review goes. Super Julie is a very vigorous grower. It's one of the best growers in my yard. The flowers and everything seems pretty disease resistant too. Like I don't see any kind of powdery mildew or fungal or anything like that. The only problem is that it hasn't been as productive. So in 3 years of growing it, this is the first year I got pretty some crop off it, and there was about 6-7 fruits off of it, right? But it's a pretty huge graft. It's a pretty huge graft, so I was expecting it to be a bit more a bit more productive, a bit more fruits on it, So I had the one that dropped was a huge fruit. It was like a pound and 9 ounces. This one might be a pound and maybe 4 or 5 ounces, I'm guessing on this. It has a beautiful kind of deep orange pastel kind of looking color. I'm not really sure how to call it, like a tang, orange tang, or like a sunset kind of orange color to it on this. This is beginning to show it. I'm sure it's going to get a lot more of that color when you let it fully ripe, but I'm going to cut into this. I don't want to let it get too ripe. It smells really good. The one that was a drop, it had a funky smell to it. The thing about some of these Indian mangoes, Indian flavored mangoes, is that unlike some of the other varieties, a lot of them don't ripen well on the tree. Meaning that when they ripen on the tree, they develop like these funky flavors. You get a nice aroma of mangoes, but then it's like this background kind of smell of like a kind of like a bit of vomit, a bit of papaya. It's just not pleasant at all. And unlike some of the other mangoes, like a Florida mango or like some of the Asian mangoes, those kind of like overripe fine. Like even when they go real bad, like they spoil, like it's more like a fermented fruit smell, right? A fermented kind of mango fruit smell. While some of these Indian mangoes, they just go from like, you don't get that fermented fruit smell. They just go from like a decent mango to like a vomit is the best way to describe it. That's the smell I get on them. So I picked this at a few different stages. These was kind of turned color, or at least some of it. I thought some of it kind of softened on the tree. I don't think this from the first fruit I had, I don't think this does well letting it ripe on the tree. So maybe the first sign of a color blush, you've got to pick it. Don't let it get completely soft and stuff on the tree. So these are different stages. We'll see how it goes. I picked one that's like this green with lenticel. I think it's ready. I mean, I think it will ripen fine. That's my guess. But I did pick this one, trying to see how it does in different stages of picking. So we'll go ahead and gonna do a taste review on this one. Again, very good, vigorous growing variety. One of the more vigorous variety for California. Just that I have a bit of an issue with productivity. Like I said, there's not much disease on it, but then I get all these fruits that and when you look at it in the beginning, there's tons of fruits and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a great year. And then what happens is all those fruitlets end up just dropping. The only thing I could tell from those fruitlets is that when I cut into them, there is no seed embryo in it. So it's just a husk with no embryos. And my theory on some of these, those are usually like nubbins. My theories on that is depending on certain varieties. Certain varieties, some hold on to these nubbins, which is like fruits with a seed husk but no embryos on them. Some of them hold on to it really well, and they kind of ripen and turn into like normal kind of tasting fruits, normal fruits, everything. Some of it's even more concentrated flavor. Laverne Manila is known to does that really well. Sweet Tart does that pretty well too. They don't crack or anything like that. Then there's some varieties where it's just kind of, they set all these fruitlets, and as they size up, they just split and crack like crazy. Nam Duck Mine 4 is one of those, where those fruitlets with no embryos, there's really no chance of it making to maturity. It's going to split no matter what you do. No kind of water management or anything is going to help it. What you have to get to is kind of prevent it from developing, whether it's weather or fungal or a combination of both. Prevent it from producing nubbins. Okay, and then there's ones where they do set a lot of these fruitlets, and they would be nubbins if they develop, but they don't. They all just drop off, and this is what I think Super Julie falls into that category. Like I don't think the nubbins really hold. They all tend to just kind of drop. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try this. I think this is a firmer flesh variety. Like I'm squeezing it, it's still kind of hard, but I think it's ready. So I am not gonna let this over ripen. So let's cut into this. It's cutting really nicely. It looks good. It looks much better than the other one, but you could already see a bit of this internal kind of issue right here, and this could be overripeness, right? Or it could be overripeness in terms of not once you pick it, but overripeness on the tree. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that this variety hangs better. Some varieties, they don't hang well, right? You let them ripen on the tree and you get all kinds of odd kind of, things that happen to the fruit. It just doesn't do well. All right. Yeah, see, there's a bit more of this. I'm going to cut the other side after this. That one looks a little bit better. I like the color on this side a bit better. A little bit more lighter, but nothing funny happening in the flesh, right? There's a little bit of the spawning, but I don't think that's anything. That's very good. Disregarding this side, this is very good. Strong melon flavor with strong acidity, strong sugar sweetness. Has that strong saffron notes to it. Not as strong as what I had in the Quesar, but it's there. I would say those notes are a bit stronger than a Kerry. This is a really good mango. Especially love if you love like that Indian kind of notes that the terpenes that kind of fall in line with like an Alfonso, a Queso. That's good. Very strong sweetness. I'm gonna go ahead and cut another one because I want to know if I'm getting this order in here, like because it's overripe from kind of leaving on the counter too long. I mean, it wasn't long. It was just like a couple of days when I picked it and stuff. But maybe it's one of those varieties where if you get the color blush and a little bit of softness on it, you have to eat it that day. You know, who knows? So I'm not sure if this is being from overripeness from just kind of sitting on the counter or overripeness from hanging on the tree, right? So I want to know if it's one or the other. Here's another one. Same thing. It had a color break on the tree, right? I had that color break on the tree already. So I'm going to go ahead and slice into this. And it feels firm. Like when I cut it, I mean, when I was squeezing it, feels firm. Well, a little bit more of that internal breakdown, right? I am not too sure what that is. So I am, at this point, I'm thinking it's hang time on the tree. So I'm thinking you really have to get to it before maybe the first sign of a color break on the tree. But that's just a guess on my part until the next one when I'm going to try to see what that is. Good thing is that there's no funky flavor on this. It's really, really sweet. This is very good. But again, I'm not sure what's happening with that. Strong melon flavor, strong sub-acidity, and especially near the skin, the sub-acid notes to it. Strong sugar content. It's has a nice saffron note to it. Not very strong. It's a bit stronger than a Cari, but nothing like a Alfonso or a Queso. So from this taste review so far, my guess is that this is not a variety that should be tree ripened. I mean, I don't fertilize my tree other than like mulch, so it might be some kind of nutritional deficiency, but I'm not too sure too, because there was only, you know, a handful of fruits. Even if there was a nutrition deficiency, it shouldn't really affect that few of fruits. If there was like, it was loaded, right, then that might be different. Very good flavor. Very, very sweet. Very strong sugar content. I'm gonna cut this side now. See how this looks like. All right. very good. I mean, this reminds me like the terpenes is like a mild Alfonso and a very mild Bombay Pyrie. You know, that's what I'm tasting in the terpenes. This piece had a nice floral bouquet to it, kind of like a saffron bouquet that I kind of get from a queso. Very strong, sweet melon notes with a strong sub-acid component to it. Alright guys, that was very good. Despite like this internal breakdown or overripe issues on this, I'm gonna be still, there's a few fruits left, there's green one left. We'll see how it ripens. I'm trying to figure out if it's an issue with it hanging too long on the tree. You know, we'll see what it is, what's causing this kind of issue with the internal breakdown. I'm still trying to figure out this variety. You know, it's a very good grower. Seems disease resistant, but hasn't been as productive as I have liked. A bit surprised that this fruit isn't hanging longer, and you know, I'm very surprised I'm having this kind of issue with the inside almost like looking like it's overripe. I'm very surprised with that. Thought it could hang longer or like have a much longer window for picking, you know. So we'll see. So far, I mean, it's a good mango, but a few issues here and there so far. So we'll see how it goes in the future. Maybe I'll do another review on one that I picked solid green like this and see what happens, right? Okay, thanks everyone. Alright guys, this is a review of the variety Super Julie. So I think I'm a fan of like most of the mangoes from the Julie lineage. You know, I have quite a few of those, and you'd be surprised that there's so many of them. Some you probably not even aware of. You know, there's like Carrie, you're talking about Angie, you can trace themselves to trace the lineage back to Julie. You know, Lil Jim, Graham, and Super Julie is a Julie seedling, right? So this is the first year I got fruit off of this. I had the graft for about 3-4 years. Very vigorous graft that grows extremely well. It flowers every year, and the flowers always look pretty clean. But then they set all these fruitlets, and then it just all suddenly just drop, right? They all drop. All I could tell about the fruitlets is that when I look at it, those fruitlets are, there's no embryos in them. So maybe this is one of those I talked about. Some group of mangoes with that develop fruits without no embryos, and some hold fruits and some drop. And I think Super Julie might be in that category where if the fruitlet has no seed embryo, you know, it might have a seed husk but no seed embryo, all the fruitlets just end up dropping. So, you know, I've been experimenting with kind of trying to trigger blooms at different stages to see how it does. But so far, this is the first year that I got Super Julie, so I'm pretty excited. I got 3 mangoes at different stages. This one was actually a drop, right? Fortunately, I had a metal bag on it. There's not much damage to it, but it is getting ripe. I'm a little bit worried about this, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Okay, so this one's still hard, right? But it has that nice blush to it. Right. And this one's still completely green, but it has a shoulder already, has lenticels already. So we'll see how it goes. I feel like Julie might have a long picking range because I picked my first one like a month ago. It was surprising. It's still ripened, but not much sweetness to it. But that was over a month ago, so now it's been a month now. So I think these are like beginning to ripen, so maybe has a much longer window to pick, right? Okay, let me set these aside and let's focus on this. Now, this is a beautiful looking mango. Look at it. I mean, it's this kind of strange, not strange, but kind of sunset kind of orange color to it, like a tan color. I don't know how else to describe it. What you see is what it is. It's like this orangey color to it. Orangey kind of sunset color to it. It's not your typical kind of yellow or red or like orangey fruits. It's like this kind of almost, I don't know how you would describe this, a bit of a pastel orange. I'm not sure what it is, but when folks seen it right away, they were like, oh, this is a very pretty looking fruit, especially the color too. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Indian flavored mangoes. I love Indian flavored mangoes. I love the complexity of it, the terpenes on it. But unlike some of the other mangoes, especially like a Thai or like a Indo-Chinese or some of the Asian mangoes, some of these, when they go overripe, it is just like, it's not just unpleasant, it is kind of disgusting, right? So like if you had like a classic Florida mango, when that kind of goes overripe, it kind of just smells like a fermented mango, right? Like a fermented fruit punch. You got that fermentation going on, but it's like fermenting fruit, right? You're not fermenting anything weird, right? When some of the Indian mangoes go overripe, and not all of them, but you know, some of them, it's like this kind of mix of like papaya and vomit. I don't know what to describe it as. There's a fermentation there, but it's just not pleasant at all, right? And the Asian mangoes, they seem to be able to kind of go overripe and stay and still taste white. They just kind of become more simpler in flavor, but they kind of seem to do all right going way overripe. But the Indian ones are very tricky. Some could be just horrible results from the smell of it. This is a huge mango. This is like a 1 pound 9 ounces, right, on this. But when I'm smelling it, this right now, I get a bit of nice mango notes to it. But underneath it is vomit and papaya. Not papaya is not ripe papaya is not one of my favorite things. So I'm a little bit worried about this. I mean, it just dropped, so there shouldn't be too much off flavors to it. I mean, it still feels firm when I'm squeezing it, right? But I know I can't let this sit on the counter too more long. I mean, I picked it up today. I'm gonna eat it today. My understanding with Super Julie is that it should have a longer window of picking. It should be able to ripen on the tree and still taste good. Some of the other varieties, not so much. Like the Julie, from my understanding, is like if it dropped that day, you have to eat it that day, right? So I'm a little bit worried about it, but let's go. Let's move on and let's kind of cut into this. Oh, it's cutting very nicely. Let's see. There goes the smell. So, what can I say about this is that, well, actually, when I'm smelling it now, it's not there, but you could tell already. It's beginning to break down already, right? So definitely not one that should be tree ripened. That's my understanding. So if it's tree ripened or drop, this is what you kind of get. I'm gonna be brave enough to just kind of go ahead and try this and see how it goes. Might not be too bad. Okay, I am very surprised. This is pretty darn good. Well, first bite was pretty darn good. Second bite, I think when it gets closer to probably this seed area, was not that good. So look at this. If I had to cut this, I'll probably try to cut around this. I think this is where's that? This right here. Probably need to cut a bit more off of it. This end tip right here is very pleasant. This reminds me of a curry, but with the sweetness really ramped up. Terpenes are a little bit less. Terpenes probably reminds you more of a half of a curry, like an Angie terpenes. That's very good. I'm avoiding this half of the fruit, but this half right here is excellent. But this half, I'm tasting like some off flavors on it. That's pretty good. That is really good. Now, I got a few more fruits on the tree. I'm going to try to pick it before it does something like this. And this is probably the smell I'm tasting. Just smelling right. This kind of off note on this part right there. Right? So, I don't know about the other side. Let me cut the other side. See how the other side is. We'll start off from the more pleasant end right here. That's pretty good. The sweetness on here is very bizarre for like an Indian flavored mango. It's like I don't think I've ever caught a bit of sweetness like this on any mango. So this is like, you know, lots of the largest group of mango flavors. You kind of get the terpenes. You get this one is I would say the terpenes is a little bit mild. It kind of reminds me more of like a for your Angie terpenes. It's not that strong. It's there, you know, it's an Indian flavored mango. You get a lot of these melon notes from like some of these, this family of mango. Like I tasted like melons all the time. And then when you add the floralness, the terpenes and stuff, you kind of get this muskiness to it, but a very pleasant muskiness to it. That's what I'm getting on this. But this sweetness is like off the chart. I wish I had a Brix meat or something, but this side is definitely much more better. Yeah, the sweetness on this is off the chart. Like I don't rarely get any mangoes with this high of a sweetness. It's a little bit overripe, so I'm losing a little bit of the tartness to it. But you know, this would be just I would say this is the first review. I will wait on some of these other ones to ripen, and I'm going to do another review on this. I'm very interested in Super Julie. I do get the tartness now more near the skin. Alright guys, well that's a review. I mean, despite what it looks like, I'm really surprised how good this is. Alright, thanks everyone. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this.